What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Conrad. Today we are at the Dirt King Fabrication headquarters. We're doing two different things today. We're gonna do a factory tour. We're gonna take a look at some of the awesome trucks they have here, and we are setting up probably one of the biggest giveaways that we've ever done. 2 sets of shocks, 2 O's, 2 5s, the new Dirt King suspension line, and their new ball joint upper control arms. We're gonna do a quick factory shop tour in here, show you guys a little bit more about the trucks and everything, the people that are all working here, and then we'll give you more details on how to get entered into that giveaway. Let's go inside. All right, guys, we are here with Dustin, the president and co-owner, with his brother Nick. Thanks for having us out here.
Yep.
It's good to finally see you in person. We're in the showroom. Why don't, I'll give you the floor. Why don't you tell us a little bit what you guys have going on in here?
So we have a little bit of everything. So we have everything from simple lift kits to full-on long travel suspension, as you can kind of see over here. We do pretty much just everything to make your truck from looking beautiful to performing amazing off-road. And so our latest product line are our shocks, and we've been putting a lot of time in R&D into our shock development, and we, hands down, feel like we have the best product on the market. We are putting more effort, more time into valving and tuning than any other company's doing right now at the moment. We have a video showing actually a little bit of our process, but we have a quality product that both looks, performs, and holds up amazing to the elements.
Yeah, a lot of our guys, we've been running several different sets of these, testing them for about 1.5 years now, even from some of the original prototypes.
Yes,
so
that's right.
We've been pretty involved in the process, and absolutely, from a visual perspective at minimum, all the way up to the performance one, everybody has been thrilled. I think we have collectively probably almost 100,000 miles on several sets of your shocks, uppers, everything like that. Yeah, it's been really good. So obviously you guys have your displays over here. That's super neat. Give somebody a nice visual of everything you guys have got going on. I see some prefabricated spindles, some gussets, your tubular arms, your long travel stuff, a little bit of everything. And then it looks like you guys are a dealer too you can kind of hook everybody up here, right? You guys have a full service shop in here, from purchasing to installs as well, right?
Everything, yeah. From walking in the door and having a stock vehicle to leaving with the most badass truck, like what you can see up on the top here of the wall. So we have a lot of our long travel stuff over here, and then this is some more long travel, just stills. But yeah, we do pretty much everything.
Yeah, this is a really nice showroom. You guys have done a great job in here. It's very clean. I love all the photos. The trucks look great. Everything looks awesome. So you guys do a lot of Baja stuff. I see PRP in there.
Yep, all the best
Pro
brands.
Bearing stuff, a lot of Dirt King branded stuff, even some of the, the paint pens and everything like that. So people can come in here and just kind of get their shopping done as well. It's not even just, buy your shocks or whatever. You guys have lights and everything ready to go.
And even down to like builder parts and stuff for the DIY people. So we will, do everything from the, manufacturing the products to doing the install, or just selling some of our subcomponents to people that know what they're doing and want to fabricate or have a little project going on.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then you guys have a bunch of swag over there. So if you guys like the Dirt King brand, make sure you pick up some t-shirts, some hats. They got some pretty cool designs. You guys are real visually oriented, I can tell. So even your swag shows that stuff. So it's pretty neat to see. But yeah, so I think that's probably going to be it here for the main showroom. We should probably go over to engineering next.
Yeah, we can go walk through. Yeah. All right, so not a whole lot to look at in here, but this is our inspection room. So we basically just break stuff in here. So like you can see, this is one of our machine control arms. We had it cut as hard as that is to do, such a beautiful product, but we cut that. We have in-house our own weathering chamber. We have our own UV tester.
Wow.
And so not only do we test stuff for the performance and strength, but we also test stuff for visual. So making sure that the anodize holds up to our standards, but literally everything's tested. And from doing this, over the years, we've just slowly kind of brought it all in-house. So we have pretty much everything in-house for testing equipment, everything from tensile testing, like I said, the weathering chamber, the UV testing machine, down to like, I don't even know if it's in here right now. There's actually one of them, a color meter. So we'll make sure that our anodize is the same.
Oh, wow.
So you'll put that on the anodize, and it'll give you actual numeric value for the color.
That's cool. So in a world where things are getting more and more corporate, where people and I guess even owners are kind of distancing themselves from the profit, you guys are not profit, from the projects, you guys are diving deeper than ever before in terms of the details. Like again, detail oriented. That seems like a big thing here at Dirt King.
Yeah, and so what we begin doing is like we work closely, like so that right there is going to be shipping out to a supplier that does anodizing. We'll start to get our suppliers in line with what we're doing. We'll send them test equipment, so they're using the same test equipment as us to make sure that they're getting the same numeric values for something as simple as an anodized piece.
That's a lot.
So it's crazy, and we've spent. This is another crazy thing that we were working on for a while. Is black laser etch doesn't hold well to the elements, and so we've spent months on trying to find a good alternative, whether it be like a paint or a different type of process for it. And so we finally found something that holds up good in our weathering chamber. And that's what's cool is we can rapidly test this stuff by putting it in our weathering chamber or our UV machine. And it's like the last thing you want to do is buy this beautiful part, and then in a few months, you know, if you buy the ocean or you're in the snowy conditions, and it just starts corroding. And you guys have seen that firsthand with early
For sure, yeah. So I'm out in Chicago, so we've been testing this stuff all over the place. You know, there's guys up in the Pacific Northwest. There's guys closer here to Southern California. There's Denver, and then I'm in Illinois, where actually surprisingly for over 12 months, like we were saying before, through some of the worst salt that we could possibly see.
That's harsh on the
Everything is beautiful. Like the powder coat is all held up really well. So everything you guys are doing, that weather chamber, I didn't even know about that. So that's really impressive. So that's just something to note about Dirt King as a whole. Like there's a lot of people out there that sell similar products, right? But I have never seen a company go to this extent to have a weather chamber to test their anodizing, even down to the spectrometer or whatever was there, and then make the company who's doing it test them the exact same way with the same tool in case the calibration or something is off.
We're not
just
going to take anyone's word for it. We're going to make sure that we do our own work and make sure that we feel good about what we're sending out the door.
Dude, that's amazing.
What's going on here? The latest product, not just the shocks, but we also have the machined upper control arms that are coming out. And so this is one of the early prototypes. We're actually just getting the final stages of running all the production through. And with these machined upper control arms, we're doing something unique that you don't commonly see. We're running a 4340 chromoly ball joint with them, and we're running these bushings that go with there. You can either run heims or you can run bushings. And what's amazing about these bushings is this is an application to where you don't get noise, there's no maintenance, and there's the additional benefit of this over heims is it absorbs a little bit of the vibration, so you get a smoother ride. So in the car, you'll actually feel it's a smoother ride compared to a rod end. A rod end is a rigid joint. So anything that comes up through the tire travels through the suspension and will ultimately be felt in the vehicle. This will absorb some of those vibrations.
That's really cool. Yeah, I've noticed that when you have like the fully Heim stuff, that it can be a little bit rough. Like it doesn't, there's no buffer, right? Because the factory uses all those rubber joints that are supposed to isolate the vibrations for daily driving. Obviously, it's a different application for race-related stuff, but you guys are trying to kind of merge those two really well together. Still have race performance, but comfort for daily driving.
That's exactly it. And so, I don't know if this one's probably too tight, but I can't visually show it. This is a free spinning inner sleeve, and so that's what makes it a big difference between the OEM and aftermarket. Is aftermarket stuff needs to be free spinning because of all the articulation that you get. And so with OEM, trying to get that articulation, you wear them out, you break them down, and so trying to get something that's no maintenance, that's quiet, that absorbs vibrations, and no noise is the holy grail, and we finally have it.
That's awesome. Yeah, anything else you guys are working on that's new besides this, or at least that we can see here? I saw this ball joint. Is this a lot larger than a standard ball joint, not only dimensions stronger?
So yes, this is a prototype of them. We actually have those in production that are going out now. And so the advantages of this is you can't really see it, but up in here, it's got a stronger neck. When we did, just like I was telling you about everything else we test, we did side impact testing on this, and this is far stronger than like a uniball or the traditional ball joint setups. So,
stronger than uniball?
Yes, much stronger than a uniball. And we have the test to back it up. But basically what we did is it's held in a fixture jig and a large weight comes down and smacks the side of it, simulating if you're getting an accident or a large hit. And the strength of this is much stronger. And not only is it stronger, it doesn't have a failure like most other joints would. They might shear right here. The way that this is made is it'll bend, and it'll bend long before that it straight shears or breaks. So this
really
is
interesting.
This is perfect for an off-road heavy abuse application. This paired with this is great because they're sealed. This is low maintenance. This is no maintenance. They allow for all the angle, the articulation, and they're heavy-duty parts. So
Yeah.
it's basically the best of the best all packaged together, and it's one full, complete unit that's everything you'd ever want out of a control arm.
So the biggest thing that I've noticed, I mean, I've been running and messing with off-road trucks and parts for like 15 years. Obviously, the industry has come quite a long way. Seems like you guys are really pioneering this stuff, right? And one of the biggest things that I've noticed is when you replace the OEM components, which are really focused on longevity, right? That's kind of where you sacrifice a little bit of longevity at the expense, well, longevity at the expense? Whatever I'm trying to say. You get more performance but less longevity. What you guys are really trying to do here is kind of bring it back to make these longer lasting, because obviously one of the big things is nobody wants to swap out ends every few months or after every couple trips, right? So that's probably a big focus here, right? Making sure that we get some of that OEM longevity back.
Yeah, the kind of standard, which I think is ridiculous, is manufacturers expect customers to do tons of maintenance. To do tons of maintenance, and that's just not realistic. Customers don't want to be doing that much maintenance on their vehicles, and so our goal is to provide something that's realistic, to meet customers' expectations, to where you're not have to maintain your vehicle every trip that you go out, to where it's something that's strong, that does its job, and you don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, and you guys, I don't feel like, we're not here to talk bad about anybody, but I feel like you guys are really trying to lead the pack here with all this stuff.
Yep.
That's awesome. So you guys are working on something even beyond the suspension and everything.
Yes.
Tell us about the axles and these components right here.
So a common problem with axles is the CV boots, and just like everything else, we're trying to get maximum performance out of these, getting high angles, and something that just holds up under extreme use and extreme conditions, whether it be salt, whether it be off-road, whatever it is. So a problem that we've been having is these boots are from EMPI, kind of the industry standard, and it's common that we'll start getting tears on them. And we do a ton of axles. So what we've been doing is that we experiment with different compounds, and we're going to more of a harder plastic. And so as long as it's designed right with the right bellows, we can get it to where we get enough angle out of it, and it's a stronger material to where it holds up better, and we don't get the failures like we do out of the EMPI. So we're in the early stages. We've been testing on it here and there. We're probably about a year out until we have something available, but the whole goal is to be able to have these boots, which, as it's unfortunate, you can't just simply get them right off the shelf. You can get OEM boots, but the problem is that the OEM boots, some of them are a little too thin, so we want to go a little thicker than the OEM. And the other problem with the OEM boots is you're paying like $100 for,
They're expensive.
yeah. So it's not realistic for our long travel axle assemblies to run that in there and increase our cost another $200.
So is this only going to be for long travel applications, or will we have factory length stuff as well?
Right now, we're just focusing on long travel, and this stuff will apply to stock length. So this is we're in the very beginning stages, but we're working on trying to make aftermarket long travel axles that run 930 CVs, and so that we have universal joints at the outers. And so we want to basically hit all the key things in the axle, like we did with our upper control arm. We want to have 930 CVs. Actually, I take that back. 932, which are a little bit bigger. 932 CVs. We want to do 30 or 35 spline, 300M axles. So basically, all the keywords, all the good stuff into one product that you just simply install. So we're working on it now, and we're a ways out, but it's the goal. We're shooting for the top, and we're going to see how close we can get and have an actual reasonably priced quality product that we can put out there on the market.
That's a big one. Reasonably priced is something that sometimes in aftermarket modifications they don't really work together. But you guys are trying to cover literally every single base here.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like, if there's a problem to be solved, we're here to solve it. And so a lot of the issue is there's other people out in the industry that are just willing to keep dealing with them. And so it's like, no matter how big or small, if there's an issue and it can be solved, like, why not solve it? Because we're enthusiasts as well, and it's like, we don't want to be dealing with those.
Yeah.
So we want to have good quality, dependable products that, stand the test of time, and something that is affordable to where everyone can purchase them and go out and have fun. That's the whole goal, is just take your stuff out there, go have fun and enjoy it.
Absolutely.
You don't want to be dealing with problems. So yeah, this is the next thing in development.
On the never-ending list.
On the never-ending list, yeah. But it's a big project, so that's one of the next big ones.
Sweet.
All right, so the engineering department's out today, but this is the engineering department. And we got No one in any of the offices, but this is where all the designing goes down, and this is what they're doing. They're designing like parts like what's on the wall, all the CAD designs, and they're even making some of the first prototypes in here. So if you see right here, this is our 3D print room.
Over here?
Yeah, and this is like one of the most efficient and fastest ways to get a prototype out to have something in your hands. You design it, hit print, and then you're looking at a prototype. So we'll actually print and install these prototypes.
Oh, that's like, so this
yeah,
is a 3D printed upper
This is what
control
you're looking
arm.
at over there. Yeah, so we'll dimensionally check these on a vehicle to make sure we don't have any clearance issues. Everything visually looks right. Just, it's the part of the step in our development process is to have a prototype in hand, and this is the way that we go about it.
This is really cool. These are some nice printers too. This is like really smooth.
This is the worst one too.
This is the worst one?
This was
Okay.
a crappy print that we jammed out. This is the worst that you'll ever see of our stuff. I wish I had something good to show you, but
We should 3D print like a whole vehicle and
Here we
assemble
go.
it. We'll have like
This-
a 3D printed Silverado.
This is just a jig, but
Yeah.
this is more of a non-throwaway part. But you can see the quality difference.
Yeah.
In between them.
It's almost like injection molding.
It's
Like,
wild,
it looks
huh?
like it's almost the same level of quality.
When they actually try and they make a good part, like it'll look injected molded. It's crazy.
That's amazing. Technology's really moving. We've got
Yeah.
people like 3D printing bump stops out there now too. So we'll see. It's kind of wild to see where this
That's true.
industry's going to go now.
That's true. Yeah, we printed ball joint boots. We printed flexible parts. It's crazy what you can do on that printer.
Really
Yeah,
cool.
let's flip that on. See if there's anything else cool in here to show you guys.
Yeah, I mean, this is all alphabet soup to me. Like I don't know much about 3D printing, but I can tell these are some nice machines for sure.
Yeah, they're pretty rad. And there's even like metal 3D printers now. We don't have any, but shit, we'll probably see in a year we might have a whole room full of them. So yeah, we're gonna experiment a little bit with that to kind of see what the capabilities
I
are.
love this
of those.
wallpaper. This area is a fun area to work in. We got
Uh-huh.
the big, that's your original truck right
Yeah,
there,
that's
right?
what- yeah.
Is this kind of what started Dirt King, this build?
No, surprisingly, what started Dirt King, well, there's kind of two things. First thing that started Dirt King was when I was 16, I had my license for 2 weeks, was racing my brother on the way to school and wadded around a tree on the drive there. And everyone at school saw it. And,
Yikes.
But
Embarrassing.
I had my first project truck.
Yeah.
And so that Ranger is the first thing we built. We never fully finished it, but what we actually started doing was during building that, kids in high school wanted their trucks built. We started building those. Then we built Nick's Titan. And before we knew it, it actually turned into a business. So just little by little, just from one freak.
Quite
Great
the
thing
story.
to-
It seems like some of the biggest and best companies kind of come out of chance or some
Yeah.
kind of what do they call it, like a hero event. I'm blanking on the term, but your
Yeah.
hero event, your big climax was wrapping a Ranger around
Yeah.
a tree. I
Yeah.
guess.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, all this stuff looks super cool. I know you guys recently wrapped up a lot of renovations and remodeling in here and stuff.
Yeah.
I really like this wallpaper. It's
Yeah,
super neat.
it's kind of goes along with the whole vibe. Like everything in here is, we just want to make the best stuff. We want to have the best people, and you want to be in an environment where you kind of feel the same. So this is what we did.
That's awesome. Well, on to the next one, huh? Let's do it.
We're off to the builds department. This is Nick's department. So they're building a Silverado right now. It seems like at any given time there's a Silverado in here.
Being cut up.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty rad story. So we built a truck for the owner of this truck's his dad. They're in here, and the kid's all, hey, I want mine built. And I'm like, all right, well, let's make it happen. So after seeing the dad's truck, they brought the son's truck in here, and it's pretty cool, father-son build.
Yeah, so you guys do, like we said earlier, installation, not even just the sales and everything like that, but you also do fabrication, right? Like if somebody
Yes.
wanted a custom bumper,
Yes.
you guys
Yep.
do all of that in-house here, right?
Yep, pretty much
Okay.
everything.
That's awesome. So there's almost nothing that you guys can't do here.
No, there's literally no limitation. Early on, we actually even built a jetpack. Pretty wild.
A jetpack?
Yeah, a jetpack.
Like to fly
a
around?
flying jetpack. I'll show you some pictures.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it
Yeah,
shows you
definitely
like
wanna
the
take a look at
extent
that.
of what we'll build. We met them, and I think the project started with they wanted us to build a rack in their bed. We're like, okay, we can build you a bed rack. They're like,
Yeah.
it's to hold a jetpack. We're like, oh, all right. So they come, and sure enough, they show up and they have a jetpack. And so the whole goal was they had a rack to where they pulled this thing out to where the jetpack was sitting on it. They would loop on, and then like
And then take off?
at Chargers games or something, they'd go fly it real quick in the parking lot, hurry up and load up and get out.
Wild,
But
wow.
yeah, they have an energy drink company, and so they go
Sweet.
out and do that stuff.
That's awesome. So you guys can handle any kind of install here? too?
Literally,
Not even-
yeah, anything. Simple
really no
wheels,
limitations.
tires, lifts to long travel trucks.
I love the
The
your
sign,
banner
yeah,
up
that's the
there
new
with
sign.
Nick.
That's Nick.
I need one of those for my garage, man.
We actually had a lot of people asking about that.
Yeah, I'm sure it'd probably be a hot seller.
So this was actually one of our first race kits that we ever developed. This is for a Nissan Titan. Nissan Titan's where we started, was with doing this stuff. So what's crazy is like this design goes back to, man, we might have been working out of our parents' garage almost when we designed this.
What year was that when you guys first started?
08.
08.
In 08,
2008.
yeah, in 08. And it's crazy how fast time flies. When
So
we were
we're
doing
like
it,
16, 17 years
60,
now.
yeah, yep. Yeah, crazy. And we learned little by little, and we knew that, you know, what people were doing at that time we could do, and we just knew that we needed to learn as much as possible, do as good a job as possible, and put our time in, and we'd work our way to the top.
Yeah, you guys are really big on quality. Quantity is not a thing here. It's
No,
always about the quality.
Quality is always first with everything that we do.
I think the industry recognizes that pretty well too, whether it's, you know, your local guy like a fab shop, or, you know, your off-road shop installer or whatever it is, or even, you know, the general customers that you guys have. I've never heard anybody be like, Dirt King stuff is low quality,
Yeah.
you know, or I got a bad
That's the
part or
first time I've
something
ever
like
heard that. You saying it right now?
Really? There you go. Yeah. So it's yeah, people. You guys have a great reputation, and you know, as long as you guys keep pushing and keep doing everything you guys are telling me, which sounds like you're only stepping it up. You're not slowing down.
Oh, there's no chance of slowing down anytime soon. We have so much crazy stuff in the works, and I'm so stoked to see what comes out this year and next year. It's gonna be wild.
Yeah, I love it, man. I'm super stoked to see what you guys do with the 24 Tacoma. I know you guys
Yes.
are finishing up some stuff. I'm sure we'll go past that truck
Yes.
and maybe take a look at it a little bit. I don't know how much we can actually show there, but
Yeah.
I imagine long travel everything is eventually going to come for every generation for the new Toyota stuff, right? We got like 5 new trucks to work on now.
Yes, it is. But so that is one of our faults. Our fault is we need to get better at bringing stuff to market faster, and so we just take so long. We need to figure out how to speed up our processes, but it's because we're so detailed at every step of the way. We need to figure out how to not lose that detail and just kind of make it, just speed it up.
Efficiency,
Because we're
yeah.
taking too long. We're going to be the last one to market, but I know that we're going to be the best. We just need to, you know, maybe find somewhere in the middle to where we're not the last one on the
Yeah.
market and still deliver the same quality that we have been.
Absolutely. Devil's in the details.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, is that everything here for the install bay? We're going on to the next spot?
Yep.
So this is hyper relevant here, at least for me. I just got a new 4th gen Tacoma. I've had a 3rd gen. I actually just got rid of it to get into the 4th gen. As we talked earlier before, I ran some of the earliest Dirt King
Yes.
shocks, even with some of the original like prototype shim stacks and things
Yep.
like that. So this is now your test rig for
Yes.
developing all the new 4th gen stuff, right?
Yes. We
Okay.
put this truck through hell and it's still doing great. I wasn't the biggest believer of this truck in the very beginning because it had a lot of faults, but little by little, as we fixed each one of those, it's became like an amazing truck. And what we compare this to is like, it's similar to our 09 to 18 Ram long travel suspension. The Ram stuff, the Ram 1500 is a coil rear suspension. And what we're able to get out of this truck for being mid-travel, we would say is probably fairly equal to what we're getting out of the Ram 1500 long travel truck. This thing handles great, and what's crazy too is we'll put this thing through hell, we'll jump it, we'll hit gnarly whoops, and there's times where like, oh, that might hurt, and the truck isn't even phased.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think I was watching a video, a more technical analysis of like 3rd gen versus 4th gen. There is like an element of, I don't want to call it long travel, right? But this has a wider and longer track width, and it has better travel than the
does have
previous
better travel.
generation, right?
Yep.
So even in a mid-travel setup, we're already like almost on like a mini 1.5 plus 2
Yes.
compared to the previous generation, right?
Yes, yes, it does have better off-road performance compared to the earlier models.
Yeah.
It handles amazing.
That's really
And
good.
so one of the faults that we found with this vehicle was the rear springs from the factory, and we don't know why they're like this. They were really soft. And so that was something that we're struggling with for a while. And so what we did is we made a plus 1 inch lift, and then we also increased the spring rate around 30%. And so in doing that, surprisingly, we actually got a better on-road and off-road handling and driving and comfort. So like overall, the vehicle just got so much better after we made these new springs and put them on there.
So it sounds like you guys should be doing the development for Toyota, right?
So yeah, this thing is handling amazing now. After putting those new springs on there, getting the shocks all valved right and getting everything all dialed in, this thing is a beast.
Exciting. And you guys are pretty close on releasing this. I think I was talking to Danny before, and he was saying it's probably going to be about a month or so.
Yes, that's the plan. Is like around 1 to 2 months we'll have everything out. The shocks, the machined arms. We're working on links right now, but those are still a little bit of ways. The deal that we're working on with the links is we're just trying to continue to give this thing hell and see how those bushings holding up, because we don't have any application that's running that yet that's getting that type of articulation. So before we put it on the market, we want to make sure that this thing can, you know, withstand all the abuse, and not have any issues.
Yeah, I see the arms. This is the first time I looked down there. So those are some prototype. I don't know if they're not called trailing arms here. No, they're still
links.
They're links, yeah.
Just links. Okay, cool.
Yep. And they have the bushings that are no maintenance, free spinning, and they absorb the small vibration. So it's all around like the ideal setup.
Very nice.
No
yeah,
squeaks, no
I'm
creaks.
very excited. Obviously, Tacoma, Forerunner, probably more so Tacoma for you guys, at least for right now. Huge market, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people are, a lot of the customer base, I imagine, is in the Tacoma and the Forerunner world.
Yep. Have you done anything to yours yet?
Dude, it's like 5 days old.
Oh, yeah?
I literally just picked it up. It's
I think actually I just saw a picture of that.
yeah,
It's like a green or
the bronze
tan.
oxide. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got the bronze oxide. So it's a TRD off-road premium hybrid. So
Really?
I was big on the hybrid portion. I was like, if I'm getting into this new generation truck, like the power and everything is obviously a lot better. The transmission is better.
The power is good. The power is
But dude, the
nice.
hybrid, like I haven't gotten on it yet. It only has 200 miles so far. I'm kind of trying to break it in, so it really has some longevity to it. But even the low end torque, like I'm giving it gas, and like I feel like I'm not giving it that much, and I'm like 20 miles an hour over the speed limit everywhere I go.
Yeah, it's
So
insane from
it's
the previous
crazy
ones to now.
responsive. I still obviously haven't wheeled it yet. Probably coming up, we're gonna do a bunch of trips out in the summer, like Colorado and stuff like
nice.
that. But that's when we're really gonna start hitting the stuff. I really am excited for the low end torque side of things, right? 465 foot-pounds of torque on a Tacoma.
Yeah.
Those are like diesel numbers. Those are like Chevy
That's pretty
Silverado
wild.
numbers. So yeah, I'm excited. That was a big thing for me. Like I had a lot of negotiables, but I wanted the premium. Didn't really necessarily need it, but in terms of the hybrid, I was like, this is like the coolest and latest thing with this truck. So yeah, we got the hybrid, and looking forward to testing it out. Trying to go for some 37s is the goal.
You
37s.
might, I'm sure you've seen people that put on there, but as far as having it and be a usable, drivable truck, you might be able to accomplish that. There's definitely going to be trimming, obviously.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But when we set up ours, we set it up for 35s, and with all the abuse, we still haven't had contact, and we don't feel like we sacrificed a whole lot of up travel. So basically, we set it all up to where we can get the most performance out of it, but you're not compromising other components. So
Okay.
we're able to you can put 33s on here if you want, but you can run 35s and run it like hell and not have any issues of rubbing up on the wheel
The
well.
new wheel wells and the whole redesign of that metal portion of the body in the top. I think Toyota finally listened to our main complaints with these vehicles for the first time.
Yeah, it's nice. I like the whole setup, and it's cool too the way that they have it. We're able to do, I think as of right now, it's still planning to do it. We did a bolt-on bypass mount and a bolt-on engine cross brace. So hopefully nothing changes there, and when we get through testing, everything's still good. But we'll be able to bolt on like a whole extreme, like gnarly performance setup on this.
Really?
No welding.
Like kind of caging over the top of the motor and
Yeah, yeah,
everything
yeah.
like that you'd normally have to do a bunch of fabrication
Uh-huh.
work to. You're saying you'll just be able to bolt it in.
That's the goal, yeah.
Wow.
It's designed. We just haven't done the prototype and fit it, but
Yeah.
everything is all designed as
And
that.
what's the reasoning for that? Is that when you're like really sending it with this thing and the frame is having its flex, we're trying to keep it a little bit more rigid?
Yeah, I don't know if I still have the video. I'll try and see if I can find a video, but it's wild what the chassis does under load. Like we had a GoPro showing how much frame flex, and you just see that thing just nonstop like this.
Even with the boxed new frame.
Yes. Well, I haven't put a GoPro on this, but from everything I've seen in the past, I imagine it's doing it like everything else. That thing's just sitting like this.
Yeah, I've seen like in the third gen, you see any kind of mobbing or you see any kind of articulation. I've literally like the frame twists so much that the body twists that I've had a hard time opening and closing my door.
Damn.
When I was like hung up on like opposite wheels and like it was legitimately being twisted in half, and I couldn't open my doors because even the body was preventing the alignment from the door jams and
That's
everything
wild.
like that. So I think this one has a little bit less because
Yeah.
obviously they've made some upgrades. But yeah, it's all around though. A lot of good stuff with this truck. Really excited to see what you guys end up doing with all that bracing and everything.
Yeah,
So,
the previous gen, the one that you saw on the wall, the black one, We
Yeah.
jumped that thing so gnarly one time that we just folded those towers in, and so we had to put that thing, a forklift
Like
up
the
to it.
coilover towers?
The whole coilover towers just came in,
Bent in.
and so we had to grab it with the forklift. We had to take and just pull those things back out. That's when we developed our frame plate kit for that year. After that, we're like, okay, this is needed. And then
Yeah.
we ran the cross brace on that afterwards. We
Okay.
don't have that as a kit, but the frame plating is a must. That would have helped prevent a lot of that.
Yeah, I've seen those. I was always wondering like what the applications are for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you guys also, well, at least in the previous generation, you have those dual shear kits, right?
That's a
that helps
big
to
help.
reinforce everything as well, I imagine. Probably helps to stabilize the coil tower with all the connection points and everything it's got too.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not, I would say for the average overlander, it's probably not as big of an issue.
No.
But if you're going to be a little bit rougher in your truck, you're going to start putting things like 35s, 37s, whatever.
Yeah.
That's really when we're starting to talk about the need for stuff like that to ensure that, you know, cheaper insurance than like replacing a bent frame or something like that.
Yes, yeah. That, like, if you're planning on doing any high-speed off-roading, it's smart to do that stuff, whether you plan on jumping it or hitting whoops or not. Because if you're doing high-speed off-roading and in most terrains, it's sooner or later you're gonna encounter something where you're like, oh shit, I didn't see that. And when you hit that, you want to make sure that you have everything protected, because if not, you're going to be causing some damage to the vehicle.
A lot of expensive repairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so this is our manufacturing. So what we have going on here is, this is where basically all the raw components become a finished, for the most part, a finished welded good. So we'll do the cutting, we'll do the machining, we'll do the welding all right here. So we got all of our welders down here on the left.
Yep.
Amazing welders, by the way.
You guys have some of the most consistent welds that
This-
I've ever seen.
this-
I don't know where you find all these fabricators and welders, but
it's not
it's crazy.
easy. They're amazing. They're so good. So like you can see, everything's just flawless.
It's so consistent.
So yeah, this is all the parts get welded, then they'll run down through here, and this is the whole deburring area. And so the way that we have our manufacturing set up is we have a series of checkpoints to where we can check quality. And so this is one of the first checkpoints as far as like a standard welded part, is it'll get welded and then it'll get deburred, and then this is like a checkpoint right here to where it gets fully inspected to make sure that the welded finish good is good. There's no quality issues. All the welds look perfect. If there's any issues, it'll get sent and go back through. But we'll inspect it here, and then there's also another inspection at the assembly stage.
Yeah. How important is process
Extreme.
to a business?
Extreme. It's everything, because everyone's got to be in line to make sure that they're all on the same goal, because without that you can't deliver a quality product. Everyone's got to be on the same page, and we all got to agree on how we're going to go about achieving that goal.
Yeah. Quite the undertaking what you guys have had to do here. I imagine,
Yeah.
you know, back on day one versus day, whatever this is, 5,001,
Yeah.
it's probably, even mentally, it's just like, where did all this come from? Not to say, you guys obviously worked for it, not to
Yeah.
suggest anything like that, but I imagine it's still surreal to some extent, especially as you take new leaps and buy new machines and everything like
It's
that
one
as well.
problem at a time. It's literally one
Yeah.
problem at a time. Like, let's see, this will show you kind of some of the stuff that we have. So, like, this is like what the welders will see, and this is kind of what helps as far as QC. This will tell them everything that they need to do to make sure that they weld that part exactly how we designed it. So this is all the stages for welding, and then there's also additional paperwork in here for what the people in deburring need to inspect.
Yeah.
And so we actually have a record of what we expect, so that if there's ever any quality issues later on down the road, and I mean when I say later on down the road, in assembly, before it gets out the door, if there's any issues, we're able to come back to this and say, all right, what failed
You
us?
know where in the process it failed, so you don't even have to guess about
And
it.
then we
You'll
fix
just go
it
to
and
the
it won't
certain
happen again.
station. Yeah, very nice.
So it's like, deal with the problem
So
once.
process and of course people, right?
oh yeah.
The people are probably what supports and makes sure that your job is easier so you can focus on new projects,
Yeah.
right?
Yep, talented
Yeah.
people, and just having a good process and making sure
That's
everyone's in
awesome.
line.
Yeah, you guys are moving some serious material, manpower,
Yeah.
hours, everything. Amazing.
So this is just the welding part. Over here is the laser.
So this is your new machine, right?
Newer, yes.
Newer.
We had another laser before this, but we upgraded because the other one couldn't keep up. And so we do all of our laser cutting here. Then it'll go to our press brake. We'll do our press brake. Similar to how this has got an inspection, this will have an inspection stage before it goes and gets received in. So this is pretty much our whole plate department, and then we have a similar department over here for tubing. So we have a tube laser and then a tube bender, same thing. It'll have
Yeah.
a QC process. Like what you saw there at the 3D print, we have fixtures to check all the pieces to make sure that all the bent tubes and everything are to spec.
Yeah. So you guys had to learn all this yourselves, right? So there
yeah.
wasn't like a book that you guys followed. One day when you decided to like really lean into this, it was like, we got to teach ourselves everything.
And we had this mindset from the very beginning. It's not that we don't have all these processes because we have untalented people. Me and my brother encountered these same problems when we're doing this work. And so we had this mindset early on, like, hey, if we're encountering these issues with one another, like, we need to standardize everything and make it as seamless as possible so that we know what to expect from one another and we can make a quality product consistently.
Yeah. Just goes to show, man, you really just got to put passion
Yeah.
into some projects. You get the right people,
Yep.
you put your head down and grind, and you can achieve something like this. And if
Yeah.
I remember when we first started talking, like I think it was like 3 years ago, like you and I were on our first email thread, I believe that you had said that originally you guys were just that one little bay,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then slowly you guys outlasted all the other businesses, and now the whole building is yours.
Yeah,
right?
so this will trip you out. So let's see, it's 16 years ago. So
Yeah.
16 years ago, our Dirt King was literally right here, so that welding bay, to probably maybe about here. That was, we subleased, and that's all
So
the
you
space.
had like 800, 900 square
500.
feet, about 500 square feet.
500 was all the square feet
Wow.
that we had.
And now what's the whole building? Like 40,000 or something?
No.
Not
Probably
quite
all
big?
said and done combined, we're a little over 20,000.
Okay, my numbers are off, but
Yeah.
it's still big. It's big.
One day we'll be able to say that, but right
Yeah.
now. So yeah, it's just one small step at a time. There was no major like gains at any one given time. It's just little by little, literally.
Yeah, it's a process, right? You can't get ahead of yourself. You got to realize it doesn't happen overnight,
It does
right?
not. It
When
does
you get to
not.
this kind of scale and you continue to grow, it's going to be years,
Yeah.
decades before you can actually achieve this level of a business. So if anybody out there is kind of considering what does it take to build and run a business, patience is probably another key factor,
Yes,
right?
patience and just putting in the work, really. Don't let problems keep going. Like address them as
There's
soon as
always
you
going
find
to be problems.
them. Never ending. That's what business
Never
is.
ending.
Business is problems.
Yeah.
And so it's problem solving. And
Sure.
I feel like we do a pretty good job at it.
Definitely. Sure looks like it. All right, what do we got now?
All right, so we are in our assembly department, and this is kind of one of the last lines before it gets stocked. This is where pretty much the welded components, the subcomponents will all come together. So we have all of our assembly bays through here, and similar to welding, they'll have their assembly instructions. We have our QC process. It's got a checkpoint at the very end, so these guys will do their job, they'll do assembly. At the very last bay is where they do an inspection against the paperwork, and then everything's good, they'll go ahead and package it all up.
Yeah. Over here, you guys are working on, these are the new...
These are the new arms
the
that
new
we're talking
arms,
about.
right?
Yeah, they're the ultimate arm. And what's crazy is we've been working on this for so long. Yeah, I mean, this doesn't look all beautiful and stuff, but the amount of time that we have in this project is just absolutely insane. Like, from the time that we actually took any action till now, it's probably been, I would say, 4.5 years, 5 years.
Long time.
Yeah, a very long time.
And this has all these are the new rod ends.
These are the new,
and then
bushing
these are
ends, the new
bushing
ball
ends,
joints.
and these are the new ball joints.
Yep, yeah.
So this is kind of like the absolute forefront of the latest of Dirt King. One of your crowning achievements is going to be this new billet arm lineup, right?
Yes, this is the best that's out there, and we're going to be applying this to all of our new long travel stuff as well.
Is long travel going to be billet now as well, or how
That's
is
the
it?
plan. We're
That's
having
the
a little
plan.
bit of an internal button heads, but I'm
what's the
team
best way
I'm
to
team
go?
billet.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
we're-
Weight savings and everything, I imagine. Yeah.
It's beautiful. I mean, they're
It
good
does. They're
quality.
very pretty. When you get the machine pieces and everything like that, it looks really good.
And we have our own unique design, our own unique features that's actually patented. So we have a design patent on these, so no one can make anything else that looks like it.
Wow. Very nice.
That's amazing.
Yeah, these are cool. This is one of the first times I'm holding a set of these, and
What does the patent actually
they're beautiful.
cover?
So the patent covers the actual design features. So similar to like how wheel manufacturers will come up with a new wheel design, they'll do a design patent on that. We did the same thing here. So what we learned is it sucks, but we were the first people to put like aluminum badge and to make our arms black with sorry, not aluminum, but we were the first people to do a brushed stainless badge on the black arm. Well, now it's almost like the industry standard. And I would have never thought back then that would be the case.
Can
And
you
so,
patent something like that?
I don't know, but what we learned is that we're doing so much work to do things that are different, not just visually, but performance. So we want the visual to match. We don't want people to try and piggyback off of our performance and our quality with having something that looks similar. So the goal is to do stuff that's unique and be able to keep it that way so that we can have our own style and our own look that's proprietary to us.
Everything starts to kind of look the same after a while. Now, kind of, like you said, on the heels of your guys' success, there's, you know, when you first probably started making control arms, there was like 3, 4, maybe 5 major companies, maybe less, right?
Yeah, there
now
was.
I think there's like 35
There
different
was literally like
suspension guys.
3 or 4 that was the big people. And it was funny too, is early on, we were going back and forth, like, should we even put a plate on it? Do people want Dirt King on their arms? Like we talked about that back then.
Though.
Yeah, and so after, you know, our early stuff had no name on it. And so like, but we didn't know, you know, we're building stuff out of a garage or 500 square feet in another shop, so.
Yeah, you guys got a killer name too. It's like, I was trying to think of like, what would be another cool suspension company name? I'm like, I can't beat Dirt King. I don't know, that's the best I got. That's awesome. So yeah, anything else that we can
we
see
kind
over
of just
here?
walk through and see it all.
Okay.
It's a mess, but it's an organized mess.
Yeah, it's pretty clean in here, guys. Like, I don't know if we caught this on video earlier, but we've been in a lot of different shops and manufacturing areas. It's pretty clean in here. This is, you could tell that these guys are organized.
So this is the arms with, this is our previous style with the Moog ball joint and the new bushings. We got the bushings finalized before we got those the ball joints. Gotta be careful how I say that stuff. So basically, they're separate. So these bushings and ball joints are from Pro Bearing. We worked with them closely with development, but it's ultimately a Pro Bearing product, not a Dirt King product.
Gotcha. Yeah, sometimes you have to take advantage of, instead of trying to take on an entire project by yourself, right?
Yes.
It makes sense. It's not like you need to set up like your own manufacturing plant for ball joints. You can work with a company like Pro Bearing to really dial in like what is the best possible option they offer, and you have kind of like a synergistic relationship with them then.
Yes, yeah, the goal is like early on, the big issue was joints. Like we knew suspension, but there was nothing out on the market that checked all the boxes for what we wanted for bushings and ball joints. And so working with Pro Bearing to develop exactly what we needed, no compromises, was a game changer because it just didn't exist and there was no one else focusing on it. So having someone that was willing to take on the challenge, listen to all of our input, able to do all the testing as well, basically just as diligent as we are, was just nuts to be able to have that. And so that's what's resulting in our final, you know, finished end product.
Right people and the right partnerships.
Yeah. Yep.
There you go. I like it. All right, so where are we at now? We're upstairs.
We're upstairs. This is where the finished goods and the subcomponents are stored and where we do our shipping as well.
Okay, looks like you got some bumpers here.
Yep, so these are finished powder coated bumpers, hitches that are getting ready to get shipped out. So we stock them raw and then we powder coat them to the customer's request.
I know you guys do a lot of this like more pre-runner, desert, low profile focused stuff. Is there any chance that in the future Dirt King expands? Maybe we can't talk about this yet, maybe it's a top secret project, but have you guys thought about, you know, expanding this? Because you guys make such good stuff. I would imagine people would flock to a Dirt King bumper.
Yeah, as far as like our style, basically the low profile rear bumpers and tubular front, like that's what we're about. And we'll probably continue making it here and there. It's not a main focus of ours. We design it where needed. Basically, if nothing's on the market that we feel fits the look and style of the builds that we want, then we'll develop it. But if something's out in the market, we'll probably go ahead and run it. We don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Our expertise is in suspension. And so we'll build, you know, fabricated products like this if it doesn't exist, but we stay focused on suspension.
Yeah, it's very clean. Like I've noticed like your bolt-on bumpers for like some of the Toyotas and stuff, it's low profile, clean. I like the look. It's definitely different than full-on 300-pound overland style swing out bumpers, but keep it light, keep it fast, right?
Yeah, we just like that clean look, minimalist, you know, just
OEM plus.
Just exactly, sleek, nice.
I like it. I like it.
So we got, you know, just our finished stocked goods up here, everything from, you know, simple lifts, our long travel stuff, and then all the subcomponents to build them.
Yeah. A lot of stuff to keep track of, man. I mean, I imagine logistically keeping track of all this stuff is a department in and of itself, right?
Yeah, something that I am so fortunate that we did early on was we barcoded stuff long before we had any idea how the hell we're going to manage it. So we implemented barcodes very early on before we had software to even track it. But that saved our ass because when we had the software in place, it made it to where you can't pick stuff wrong, and it's crazy how easy it is because look at all these components.
So, and they all
What's-
look the same.
Well, like
yeah.
look, when you grab a sleeve, it's like it's super easy. How do you tell the difference between those two sleeves?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so having these barcoded items is the way that we ensure that everything's right, whether it be picking for an internal production order or picking for a customer. Everything's barcode scanned, and to make sure that we have that quality check.
I really like these new machine plates. So you guys have
Yeah.
all the different colors now. So for like a custom build,
Yeah.
someone's got gold accents, blue accents, red accents. You can really dial in your build to give it a bit of a custom flair compared to one size or one colorway fits all, right?
We're actually coming out with more colors too.
Even more?
For
Okay.
the billet arms. So it's just gonna be for the billet arms initially. We'll see if we can adapt that over. But for the billet arms, we're gonna have purple, gold, bronze, red, orange, black, clear.
So basically
blue.
almost the whole rainbow of colors.
Yeah. So a little bit of everything, and it's gonna be pretty cool setup.
Very awesome.
All right, so we're in here where we do some of our development and our QC. So we have our shock dyno, our spring dyno, and then we have our stations for doing some reworks and doing tuning. But this is our Forerunner 2.5 DCA coilovers. And so some of the things to note about this is we have our aluminum bodies. They are hard anodized. The nice thing about hard anodized is it actually hardens the surface of it. So unlike a traditional anodized, this is actually like a harder surface. So it's harder to scratch, it's harder to oxidize.
Yeah.
So quality coating.
Longevity.
So what kind of fittings and hoses and all the other components are we running here?
So we have, these are just industry standard hoses and fittings. What is unique about this shock as well, other than just like the aluminum construction, is being able to have the compression adjusters. So what's nice about these is you can fine tune high speed or low speed. And what that means is we're not talking about vehicle speed, we're talking about shaft speed. So you can adjust basically if you want just on small like articulation on rock crawling and stuff, you can make that compression softer in just that one area. And so being able to fine tune that is what makes these superior than just a single adjuster or a non-adjuster altogether.
Gotcha. I guess a big follow-up question, something that I've always wondered about, there are only a handful of shocks out there do rebound adjustment. Can you kind of walk us through why we're doing compression, not rebound? Is there too much variability? What's the reasoning for the approach for this kind of design?
That is a really good question. So we talked about that, and think of it this way. This is the best way to think about it. Compression is comfort, rebound is control. We don't want to give customers the ability to mess with control. And so we make these to where, you know, they're comfortable and they're stable. Once you start messing with rebound, you can really change the way that the vehicle reacts, and it can be doing some things that are unpredictable. And so we don't want to give customers the ability to tune that.
So sometimes it's one of those things like you get paralysis when you have too many options, or you
Yeah.
can potentially screw something up.
Yes.
So you guys are saying, let us handle this. We know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Let's focus on the compression side of things, or you have the customization, and we're going to dial in that rebound perfectly for you, so there is no chance of something funny happening.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
So we take care of that side, and then we let them fine tune comfort.
Awesome.
But we handle the control part.
Sweet. So this is, I think I had seen a reel before. I think when we were talking to some of the other guys, you guys do, every time an order comes in, right, and you guys are doing assembly and then shipping and boxing and everything, you could check 10% of every single order, bulk order that you get at a time, right?
Minimum. Typically, typically we're inspecting, you know, I hate to say it, this is embarrassing on a manufacturer's standpoint, but 100%. We're checking everything.
You check every shock.
Everything.
Nobody does that, right? That's not a normal thing to do. Not that
No.
it's a bad thing, but
No.
that's not normal.
It's good for the customer, bad for the company. But
Sure.
we're literally checking everything because
Crazy.
there's no denying that we're the earliest people in the game. Like we're the youngest shock company that's out there. And so there's no room for error, and we are, you know, saying confidently that we're the best product out in the market. We have that. Now we need to make sure that we're also consistent.
Yeah.
And so for us to, you know, market that, to push that, to say that, we want to, you know, hold true to what we're saying. And so we want to ensure that what we're putting out in the market is consistently are the best thing that we can put out there.
So you guys probably have very low return rates, if any at all, because if there's any leak, you guys catch it. If
Yes.
there's any problem, if there's any valving issue, you catch it right off the
The
bat.
only issue that we have is shipping.
Yeah.
So if there's an issue, it's because something happened.
Because the guy, UPS guy, launched it
yeah,
into the
and
driveway.
so now we're
or
working on
something,
trying to make
sure.
that bomb proof. That's another project
Yeah.
that we're working on all together right now.
Yeah, that's crazy. So it's a lot of I don't want to say firsts, but a lot of you guys take the extra step which is why, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, another shock company, right?
Yeah.
They don't really understand the intricacies. You guys have been doing this 3-4 years before you ever
Yes.
actually released a product, and now you're not even done, right? You're still testing, like you said, almost 100% of everything that's coming through.
Yeah.
That's not normal, and at the end of the day, who benefits the most? The customer, the industry, because we're setting higher standards,
Yep.
right?
We know what we want and what we don't want. And from doing this all these years and running other people's shocks, we always said, oh, it'd be nice if we just could have this or just have that. And we never had that ability to do so. So now what we've been able to do is put together everything that we want, and we're able to leverage these other people's expertise to ultimately arrive at the absolute best product. So we're able to leverage the expertise from the manufacturer at Elka. They're amazing at what they do, and we let them do all the manufacturing. We do all the R&D and design, and then we also have amazing people that we work with that have years and years of expertise in tuning, in shock development, that come in, and we have the advantage that no other company has. We're more flexible, nimble, open to designs than anyone else. So we're able to bring in all these other outside people that have all this knowledge from all these other companies, hands-on with just maybe their own personal knowledge. But we have, you know, although we can't say their names, some very well-respected, well-known people that are working with us from multiple angles, that all are able to put their input and all able to criticize, give us criticism on what we're making, and just ultimately make it that much better.
Yeah, I really like the fact that before you guys ever had your own shock line, you guys were able to take all the experiences from every other major manufacturer. And I'm sure everybody does cross-testing and comparisons, but
Yeah.
I feel like very few people have the resources and the kind of bigger picture testing and knowledge of working with all these long travel, mid travel, everything. And that's really a huge advantage here for you guys here at Dirt King.
The fact of it is we would have never developed shocks if what was on the market was already good. So they had weaknesses,
Yeah.
and that's what ultimately led us to making our own product, because they weren't willing to fix them. Like, we would say, hey, we want this, we want that, or we want a consistent product that doesn't leak or doesn't have this issue or that issue.
Yeah.
And we just couldn't get it. And those issues were highlighted during COVID. And so right then and there we go, all right, we're doing this.
You want to control more of the process and ultimately the customer, but again, to the customer's benefit, right?
If they're not going to do it, we are. Similar to the ball joints. We're fortunate enough to work with Pro Bearing. It's across the whole company. What we do is we know what we want, and the way that we're going to achieve it is link up and work with other like-minded, knowledgeable people, and just ultimately work together on delivering the best product.
Absolutely amazing. Dirt King against everyone. Go look at some of the Dirt King. These are employee trucks or customer
so we got
employee?
employee trucks, we got customer trucks.
Okay.
My personal truck right here is this Silverado.
Yep.
But yeah, we're showcasing our products. We got our performance lowers on there, our shocks, our upper control arms. We've got our side X exhaust.
Is this a mid-travel setup?
This is a mid-travel setup, and I love the mid-travel setups because they're a nice, comfortable daily driver that you can have some fun with.
They're
off-road.
reliable too.
They're
even-
reliable, yeah. Not that the long travel isn't, but once you start doing that, you know, you can't pull in the parking spots as easy. It's just a
Right.
bigger vehicle.
You
And
fight it a little bit more even when you drive.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
had that experience. For
having
sure.
the mid-travel clean daily, I think, is the way to go.
Yeah, and
and
then
it's-
we have another Silverado over
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
right?
Let's go take a look at the long travel.
So this one's a full long travel setup minus the cage in the
Yes.
back, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is our long travel setup.
This
Beautiful
truck
build.
is unbelievable. The all black,
Yeah.
it's something else. Wow. So you guys are still working on this one. Looks like there's some trimming and some stuff going on.
Yep,
still.
they got a little bit more work to do, but this is one that they're just wrapping up. It
Yeah.
has our long travel front, it has our bumper, it's got coilovers, bypasses, Innovate wheels, our bed cage in the rear.
Yeah. I might be a Toyota guy, but this kind of stuff makes me want to switch sides. Maybe I just need both, right? I think
Yeah.
that's the real answer. I need
Hey,
a
that's-
Silverado and a Tacoma.
That's what I did. I started with the Tacoma and led over to the Silverado. I mean,
There
I
you
like them
go.
both.
Yeah, for different applications,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. All right, well, I think that's going to wrap it up for today. Dustin, thank you so much. This is unbelievably impressive what you guys have done here. Congratulations.
Thank
I
you.
wish you guys all the best. We hope that you guys continue to be as successful and more. And guys, this is really going to be the gold standard, I think. These guys are setting the standard. This is the gold standard, literally, and that's why their colors now are black and gold. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We're going to go bomb these trucks in the desert over the weekend. Much more content to come. Dustin, thank you so much.
Yep.
Keep it up, and we'll see you next time. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for today. We hope you enjoyed the Dirt King factory tour. I know I did, I know Brendan did. There is a lot going on behind the scenes at this company that you really wouldn't expect. And in terms of just general ownership, these guys are one of the last privately owned companies, and they plan on staying that way. So if you're looking for the very best, I think Dirt King, and we actually got some sneak peeks at some really rad new stuff coming that we're not allowed to talk about whatsoever. But there's going to be even more than we've been able to show you here today. Now, the giveaway, right? That's gonna be the biggest part and kind of like the final section, the ending of this video. We're giving away 2 suspensions, 2 sets of uppers. You're gonna find all the links to get entered into that in the description below. Obviously, if you have any questions, drop us a comment, shoot us a DM on social, anything like that. But today, right now, we are launching the biggest giveaway of 2025, 2 sets of Dirt King suspensions, 2 O's, 2 5s, and upper control arms with all the latest features and all the latest tech from Dirt King. Thank you for sticking around. Again, if you have any questions, let us know. Big thank you to Dirt King. Thank you, Dustin. Thank you, Nick. Thank you to everybody. Thank you, Danny. It's been awesome. We'll see you guys next time.